Hi, Marvin Augustin with StarLogic. StarLogic has partnered up with Google to help American businesses get online with a free website. If you've been to gybo.com in the past then to create a website, then you've used Homestead. Now you'll be using StarLogic. The StarLogic Site Expresso Web Builder is mobile responsive, which means if someone accesses your website with a mobile device, a tablet or mobile, then it'll easily adjust the size and position to better view your website. So let's get started. Here's our agenda. Today, I'm going to show you all how to create a StarLogic account. Upon creating a StarLogic account, we're going to talk about picking a style and color. From there, we're going to talk about customizing the website further, grabbing a domain name, and then publishing. And then we're going to talk about website tracking. Now, I've done over 100 events for Get Your Business Online with Google. And if you recall, and you've attended these events, then I've told you that this is a classroom and you need to take notes, pay attention, and ask questions. Just because we're on video, remember, I can still see you. So please do take notes and follow along. So here we go. So now you want to go to gybo.com and click on the Getting Started button on the top right. From there, you want to go to Build Your Website link. Once you're done clicking on that, then you want to go to Create Your Free Website. When you click on Create Your Website, the next step is to agree to terms of service on StarLogic and then sign in with Google. Once you sign in with Google, you're officially in the StarLogic account. You want to create a security question and enter a security answer and then hit Submit. From there, you'll be waiting for a few moments for it to load, and then you'll click on Ready, Set, Build. The moment you hit on Ready, Set, Build, you'll be taken to the business questionnaire. Now, this is where the nuts and bolts of the program begins. So now you want to enter your business name, business phone number, business address, and where you're located. We're going to take this information to better optimize your website and easily place information that you already placed in there. This was makes the Site Expresso Web Builder with StarLogic so easy to use in creating your website. We're generating this website tool for novices like you who've never built a website before. So please do take advantage. So once you're done entering that information, the next step is to choose your industry, then select the purpose of your website. We have three options. You can go product, services, and or both. Go ahead and choose one of those. And the next step is to enter nearby cities and regions that you service. Do keep in mind that whatever you enter here, please don't reiterate what you entered as far as your city, town in the beginning of the form. So do make a note of that. When you're done, go ahead and click on Continue. Now we're going to talk about choosing a style. Now, depending upon which purposes you chose, you'll see respective styles that better fit that business purpose. Go ahead and pick a style, and it'll automatically update within the Site Expresso tool. Then we want to talk about choosing a background color for your website. Now, at events, I normally ask businesses to think about the logo colors in order to choose a website. And the last event I did in Maui, which was awesome, loved being there, I spoke to a small business owner named Kenny. Kenny's business was basically helping plants grow more efficiently. His colors were, believe it or not, red, white, blue, with a touch of green. So just think about it for a moment. If you had those colors in your logo, which color scheme would you choose? White. White is the safest color to choose because it doesn't clash with that logo color and it automatically blends in. So when you're thinking about what color scheme to go with, choose a color scheme that goes best with your logo. Once you're done, we're going to move on to actually setting up your header. Your header setup is directly underneath where it says Style and Color. Go ahead and double click underneath Style and Color where it says Header, and the dialog box will appear. From there, you want to enter in the business name and even upload a logo. So you can upload a logo and enter business name, and then directly underneath that, you can decide whether or not you want to show both or just show the business name or logo. When you're done, hit OK. Now we're going to move on to actually customizing your website. Here, you want to double-click the hero image to enter your own image. If you don't have your own image, don't worry. We actually have a huge image library that allows you to choose from tons of images that are high definition and are compatible with the website. So do take advantage if you don't have your own. If you do have your own, you click on upload your own image and you'll be good to go. Now, a couple things to keep in mind when entering an image. There are 3 compatible image file extensions that work best with the SiteExpresso website. Those are PNG, GIF, and JPG. If you do not have one of those extensions, you can easily convert it. Also, what you need to know is that if you have a large image that you're uploading, it's going to take too long for your pages to load. I'm going to tell you right now, if Marvin goes to your website and it's taking too long to load, I'm going to leave. And you don't want that to happen. So here are my suggestions. Keep your images under the following parameters. One of them is pixels. So I would recommend staying within 500 by 500 pixels. Another way to measure image sizes is kilobytes. I would stay within the kilobytes and the low kilobytes. And the last way to measure images is DPI. And I would recommend staying at or below 72 DPI. Now, like I said earlier, it's important to jot down notes. So I hope you jot that down as well. The next thing and last thing I want to mention about images is that your images now can also be optimized. If you can recall, whenever you save an image to your computer that you've taken, it's going to save that image as a file name with a series of numbers and letters. You don't want that to happen. So do yourself a favor. When you save it to your computer and before uploading it to your website in SiteExpresso, name that images. Name your image respective to that image for your products or services. Keep in mind, you don't want any spaces, and it can run straight through. Now, let's move on. Now we're going to talk about how you can use our image library, because I mentioned that earlier. Pretty easy. We already have a name for your images already set by default because of the questionnaire that you answered earlier. So at this point, you can search for that image there, or you can remove that and type in the image that you're searching for. Go ahead and find it, pick it, and you can easily add it to your website. Moving on, let's talk about adding text. Now, I want to stop for a second and talk about this because this is very, very important for your website. If you want to better optimize your website, it is important to have content. Content is very, very key. And here's a short story. I look like a healthy guy, and I would hope that you would feel the same, and I do try to be as healthy as I can. And believe it or not, I do try to cook for myself. And I was in the market for cookware, and my choices were stainless steel and cast iron. When I searched the web on cookware to find out what was better for me health-wise, I found 2 websites that popped up on the first page of the search engines. Believe it or not, they had the word cookware at least 11 to 15 times within their website. That's important to add a keyword associated with your products or services within your content. Now, I know some of you may struggle with adding content, because I know I do. So we've already thought about that in creating SiteExpresso, so we have a text builder for you. So do yourself a favor, double-click to add text. What will happen next is you will see Write Text For Me, which I would use, or you can write your own. It's up to you. So let's talk about how it works when we write text for you. Choose Write Text For Me, and then hit Continue. Next, you'll be asked to choose one of 2 services that you're known for. So one of the example is that you have high-quality products. Next, you'll be asked to how you refer to your customers. Do you refer to them as clients, or do you refer to them as customers? Choose that. When you're done, hit Next. The very last step is to enter a short description of what customers like about your business. This is important because this is how you separate yourself from other business owners on the web. So enter in what customers like about your business in about 1 or 2 sentences. If you don't know what customers like about your business, then enter in what would you like them to like about your business. From there, you hit Continue. And the last couple steps is to decide if you want to showcase that text in casual form or a formal form. It's up to you. You also have the ability to customize that text. Once you're done deciding that, you hit Use this text. And then, voila, it's automatically placed within your website. Here's another recommendation that you would want to jot down. We recommend that you have at least 250 words within your homepage and 100 words within your next 2 pages. Again, like I said, the search engines like adequate content, and this is your way to do it. Let's talk about the other elements that you can also add to your website. You'll notice that all the elements will be placed in white. They're not active. In order to activate them, you'll need to double click. So remember, to activate an element, you want to double click. And I want to talk about 2 elements that you all should use within your website. The first one I want to talk about is the call to action element. A call to action on the website is important because you're telling the visitor exactly what you want them to do when they get to your website. Whether it's you want them to buy an item or fill out a form for them to contact you. Our call to action element, once you double click it, will prompt you to set up an email for contact. It'll prompt you to call, or you can prompt it to set up and show an address. Your choice. So that's one that everyone should have within their website. The other one I want to touch on is the coupon. The coupon is great because it helps visitors come back to your website and it also helps with conversion. So you can definitely double click the coupon and say, for example, if I had a yoga studio, we'll give you 10% off a yoga session, for example. So definitely use those 2 at the very least within your website. Let's just say you've added an element that you no longer want to use. No problem. Click on that element, and then there'll be a reset button on the very top for you to remove it. Pretty easy. Now we're going to move on to adding more pages to your website. Adding pages is very simple. To the very left of where it says Style that we already worked on, you'll notice it'll say Add Page. So go ahead and click on Page or Add Page next to where it says Page, and you'll see a drop down, and in that drop down, you'll have the option to add additional pages. You'll notice that you can add anywhere from a service page, a testimonial page, or even an about page. Is your choice. Also keep in mind that you can also change the page names and descriptions within each page that you create. So when you've already added that page, click on the Add Page options, and then you'll see a little pencil. Click on that pencil, and a dialog box will appear where you can enter in a separate page name and a page description. Now we're going to move on to publishing. Before we talk about publishing, I'm going to add another story and a question for you all. Once you publish your website, we all know the search engines will spot your website and add your website to the database based on your content. And from there, you'll be at the last couple pages of the search results. Now here's a question for you. How long does it take to get to the first 3 pages of the search results? We don't know the answer. In recent events, I've heard 2 weeks, which is pretty dramatic, and I've also heard 6 months. But the true answer is we don't know. But I can tell you it does take some time. And I've seen people and small businesses being afraid of hitting publish because they think someone is going to see the website. I can tell you all right now, the moment you hit publish, no one will see your website unless you're giving them the direct address to it. So again, don't be afraid to publish. Now let's talk about what happens after you click on the Publish and Preview option. Once you click on that, it'll be on the far right-hand side. It'll say Publish and Preview. From there, you'll see a version of your website, both in the desktop version and in the mobile version. If I didn't mention this earlier, the StarLogic SiteXpresso web builder is mobile responsive, and so you want to take a look at how your website will look in the mobile version and make the necessary changes. Make sense? Awesome. Once you're done previewing it, go ahead and click on Publish, and then you'll see another dialog box will appear. It'll say, congratulations, your website has been published. Would you like to register a domain name? If you know what you want, as far as your domain name, go ahead and click on Yes to continue. From there, you'll be taken to a screen that allows you to plug in a domain name. Now, a couple things to note when registering a domain name. In this example that I have shown, the domain name says Stages Bakery. Now, the recommendation here is to include a product or service as far as a keyword that you provide within your domain name. In this example, Stasia has a bakery. So if I were looking for a bakery online, guess what I would type in the search results? I would type in bakery. See what I did there? That's the example that I want to show you. And so when you are creating a domain name, you want to make sure that it includes a keyword, like I said, associated with a product or service. Now, one more thing to note. Your domain name shouldn't be too long, because if it's too long, it's going to be too long to remember, and no one's going to remember to go to your website. So I would suggest keeping your domain name within 3 words. Anything longer than that, like I said, is too long to remember. When you're done entering that domain name, click on Claim Your Domain Name right underneath. From there, it'll show you all the domain names that are available for you to register. Your domain name that you looked for will show on the very top. If it's available, go and click on it. If it's not available, it'll show alternate extensions or even other versions of that domain name. If it is there, go and click on it and click on Claim. From there, the very last step is to incorporate your credit card information. Now, you get a free year using StarLogic SiteExpresso. That is true. The reason that we're asking for your credit card information is we want to make sure your domain name is protected against fraud, which means if someone were to contact StarLogic and want to move or change that domain name, they'd have to prove that they own it. And the best way to do that is the person is going to be paying for it. The second reason we prompt you for that information is to assure your domain name is renewed automatically the following year. Any domain name that's not renewed on this renewal date will be released back to the public within 80 days, and we want to make sure we avoid that for you. Make sense? Cool. Once you're done entering that information, go ahead and click on Register Now. From there, you're all set. Couple final steps to decide on is if you want email with your domain name. So for example, StasiasBakery.com, an email for that would be support@StasiasBakery.com. If you want to do that, it's only an extra $2 a month. The other thing that you want to decide on is if you want domain privacy. What domain privacy is that it blocks your personal information from the public database. Every domain name in existence is in a public database called Whois. And if you don't have what is called domain privacy, your personal information will be shown. I don't know about you all, but I don't want my personal information public because then I'm subject to telemarketers and spammers. So if you want to avoid that, go and check the box to protect your personal information. If you don't care for it, just leave it unchecked and then click on Register Now. Then you're pretty much done. Your domain will propagate within 24 hours. Now we want to go back into SiteExpresso. So choose the link that says, Take me back to SiteExpresso. Now we're going to talk about how to access your website. Pretty simple. On the very top of the SiteExpresso program, it'll say Control Panel on the top right. Click on Control Panel. Once you're done, you'll be in the Control Panel, and then right underneath, you'll see SiteExpresso. Click on SiteExpresso, and that'll take you right back to where we just came from. So whenever you log back in, you go to the Control Panel, and you click on SiteExpresso. To log back in, you're going to go to StarLogic.com, and on the StarLogic.com website page, you're going to click on Login. Now, we all created our accounts using our Google accounts, so therefore, the moment you get to log in, there'll be a button that says Sign In with Google. Go ahead and click on that, so therefore, you don't have to remember an extra passcode. Pretty simple. Now let's talk about our Help Center. How to get help after today. When you're in the Control Panel, or even when you're in the SiteExpresso program, you can click on Online Help right above where it says Publish and Preview. Once you click on that, it'll show you our help mechanisms. We have our knowledge base, we have a user guide, we have access to chat support so you can chat with us. We also have the submissions of tickets, so you can even send us a ticket with your question that you have. We can also support you by phone. Our 800 number is 800-725-8064. Feel free to call that number for questions or even add additional items like pages or even selling online on your website. Now let's talk about website tracking. I'm going to show you all how to connect your websites to Google Analytics and Webmaster Tools. Now, this is important because you want to make sure you know how your website is doing on an ongoing basis to make necessary changes to improve your website's performance. That's like plugging in an EKG on your body and getting a message on how your body is doing on a regular basis. This is so important, and I would recommend that everyone associates their websites to Webmaster Tools and Google Analytics. If you agree, here's how it works. You're going to go to the Site Expresso from the control panel. From there, you'll see on the top right, underneath Publishing Preview, Website Statistics. Click on Website Statistics, and you'll be taken to a page that prompts you to add Google Tracking ID. Click on the Add Google Tracking ID, and a dialog box will appear to plug in the Google Tracking ID. What you want to do next is leave that page open and open a brand new tab and navigate to google.com/analytics. When you get to the google.com/analytics page, it'll say sign in to Google Analytics, or rather access Google Analytics on the top right. Click on that, and that will take you to a page that it says sign in. It'll be on the far right-hand side. Click on sign in, and the very next thing that you'll see is there'll be a form for you to complete on the sign in page. One of the important pieces of that form is to plug in the URL that was shown when you hit publish. If you don't remember what that URL is, no problem. Just go back to Site Expresso, click on publish, and the URL will appear. This is a temporary address until the domain you registered fully propagates. Grab that, fill that in, and fill out the necessary questions, and then hit submit. Once you hit submit, you'll see a UA tracking ID. Now, a lot of times people would just try to type that in into the Site Expresso add tracking ID. I wouldn't suggest that. I would suggest just copying that UA tracking ID, then going to Site Expresso, and then plugging in and pasting that tracking ID, and then say, yes, publish my website now. There'll be a blue button that says, yes, publish my website now. Click on that, and you've automatically just added analytics to your website. Congratulations. Now we're going to talk about associating Webmaster Tools. Webmaster Tools is another tool that helps you critique your website as far as improving its optimization. This is equally important. Here's how it works. When you go back to your Google Analytics account, on the far left-hand side, it'll say Property Settings. Click on Property Settings, and then scroll down to the very bottom of the Property Settings page. There you will find it'll say Webmaster Tools, and there'll be an Edit button right there. Go ahead and click on the Edit button. From there, you'll see a button that says Add Website to Webmaster Tools. Click on Add Website to Webmaster Tools. Then you'll get an option that asks you to proceed by clicking OK. From there, you'll get another page that'll prompt you to add site. Here's where you want to type in the website domain that you registered so you can make sure your domain name is added properly. Once you're done typing that domain name in, hit Add Site, like I said. And then from there, you want to verify, because we want to make sure that Google verified and has connected your website to the Webmaster Tools. Once you hit Verify, you'll say OK, and then hit Continue, and then you've just connected your website to Webmaster Tools. I hope this information was useful for you, and I do want to make sure I add a couple more points before I let you go. We actually have a couple incentives for all of you that's created a website with StarLogic Site Expresso this week. And that incentive are the following. Every single business that published your website and grabbed a domain name will receive some perks. My favorite two perks that you'll receive is basically a website analysis report. We will allow you to analyze your website and see how it's doing as far as its optimization. When you're done viewing and setting up the analyst report and submit that back to us, we'll reach out to you once more and provide you an option to have a 30-minute website consultation with one of our StarLogic web advisors. Just think about this. You get a free consultant to talk to you about your website. That's like you walking in and helping someone in your profession to how to best use your products and services. I think that's pretty key. So definitely take advantage of that. And again, like I said, there'll be other incentives that we'll also send to you. So definitely publish your websites and grab that domain name. Thank you all very much for your time, and thanks for getting online.